Calculating calories when you eat can actually be a good habit if you're a high-performing athlete. Teenagers need more carbohydrates because they're still growing. Now let's talk about how nutrition can play a role in performance. Hey guys, this is Yasser and welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's talk about nutrition and how you can use nutrition to get better with your performance for your sport. Before we begin, we need to discuss a few points that can actually help you understand the concept of nutrition and how it plays a role in your daily life. I'm going to take a couple of minutes to go through these key points. The most common term used to talk about how much energy we actually use up in a day is called total daily energy expenditure. From now on, we're going to refer to it as TDEE. TDEE has three basic components. One, basal metabolic rate, the thermic effect of food, and activity thermogenesis. Basal metabolic rate or BMR is what we need to survive. From your kidney function to your brain thinking, from your heart pumping, these all expend a lot of energy, and that energy comes from food. This is your basic need for survival, and you need food for that. Thermic effect of food is when you utilize energy to digest your own food. It takes almost 10% of your TDEE. Now, the two main things, exercise activity thermogenesis and non-exercise activity thermogenesis. There's a bit of distinction over here. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis is unstructured activity that you do. So let's say going for a walk, laundry, climbing up the stairs, moving something from point A to point B. Whereas exercise activity thermogenesis is structured activity. So you're going to the gym, you're playing soccer, you're playing football, any other sport where it's structured and you are using up a lot of energy over there. Now, calories out is because basal metabolic rate, thermic effect of food, exercise activity thermogenesis, and non-exercise activity thermogenesis takes up. Now, to make sure you counteract, you have to consume enough calories to make sure that all your activities are fueled properly. If you eat less, you're in calorie deficit. If you eat more, you're in calorie surplus. Now, everyone's BMR is different. How can you find BMR and how many calories do you actually need in a day? Let's check this out. I want you to go on Google and type BMR in the search bar. The second link is what I like the most, the bmicalculator.net. Once you click on it, you go down and you have to put in a few stats. So let's look at me. I'm 5'8". I am 162 pounds. I'm 30 years old. Now calculate BMR. Now for me to survive, I need 1,731 calories every day. This is just my basic BMR. Now I have a very active job, so I try to consume somewhere between 2,500 to 2,600 calories every day. So I've put myself in the moderately active category. Now let's look at an athlete of mine and how many calories he would need. So he's let's say 5'4", 120 pounds. He's 14 years old. He requires 1,604 calories just to sustain his bodily functions. Now, he is extra active, sometimes training twice a day, very hard sports he's playing, very physically demanding. I have told him to be somewhere in north of 3,000 calories every day. Calculating calories when you eat can actually be a good habit if you're a high-performing athlete. This will help you be mindful of what you're taking in, because what you want to do is make sure that you're slightly above the threshold and not below it. So over-consuming slightly is still better than under-consuming if you're an athlete. 1 gram of protein and carbohydrate both give 4 calories. 1 gram of fat, 9 calories. And those of you who drink alcohol, you should know this, 1 gram of alcohol gives you approximately 7 calories. Teenagers need more carbohydrates because they're still growing. Now let's talk about how nutrition can play a role in performance. Now when it comes to performance and nutrition, two things are very important: the time and what you take. And some foods are preferred more than the others. So for example, in mid-training, I would rather prefer watermelon over a sandwich because it's fruit, sugar, and easily digestible. Before training, carbohydrates is better because protein takes a long time to get digested, so energy availability is better when you take carbohydrates. Now post training, because I want a good recovery session afterwards, or I want my body to recover, I would tell the athlete to take a higher protein diet. Nutrition also changes when you're in season, pre-season and off-season. Now when we talk about nutrition, we cannot ignore the fact that aesthetics is important to some athletes. Some athletes need to have a six-pack ab, some athletes need to have a low body fat percentage, and some athletes would actually want to look more muscular. Now what sport they are part of plays a huge role in this. Not every athlete can look the same. Now soccer player might look like this, but a shot put player cannot. A shot put athlete will look like this because the demand of the sport is very different. Also, when it comes to aesthetics, caloric deficit is something you need to be in to lose that fat. Now for an athlete, it's detrimental over a period of time when you're not consuming enough calories to what your body requires. So as a performance enhancement coach and a sports nutrition coach, I'm not a big fan of this because this will hamper the performance in the long run. Now aesthetics also overlooks what you're putting into your body. Your body does not recognize whether you're getting your calories from a burger or from fruits because it only sees absolute numbers and the nutrient it gets. So I prefer health over aesthetics. Eat proper food from proper sources, green leafy vegetables, fruits. You can fuel that to better your performance, and in the long run, it will help you get better. Now before we wrap up, one thing I really need to discuss with you guys is the concept of LEA, low energy availability. This is when for a prolonged period of time, you do not take nutrition properly according to what your body requires. Now this can affect a lot of people differently. Let's say in women, one of the symptoms can be irregular periods, amenorrhea, and in men, it could be low testosterone. So always make sure you stay in your range for what your body requires. There is no blanket protocol for an athlete. Every athlete is different. Whatever we have discussed in this video will help every athlete or every individual actually create a benchmark for themselves of how many calories should be taken in by them. The concept of nutrition is based a lot on trial and error because everyone's body is different, as I've mentioned it multiple times. Back it up with research, see what fits best for you, what eating strategies are there. If you need any help, you can always reach out to me in my handles mentioned in the description. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like this channel and want more videos like these, always subscribe to it, and I'll see you next time.